Hi, this is Suzanne Kreider with themindtolead.com. This is the fifth in our video series called How 7 Leaders Stopped Making 7 Brain-Based Mistakes During Accountability Conversations. Mistake number 5 I call being self-absorbed. Now, it's normal for all of us to care and think about ourselves most of the time. However, it's very important for leaders, particularly when they're in a difficult situation or going into a challenging conversation, to have already taken care of their own stuff before they go in. That opens up their desktop so they have more space, more emotional resilience to be able to focus on the other person. This is a story about one of my clients named Britt, who is a brilliant leader. She works in academia, and she was very successful, having very few problems. And then one day, there was a huge surprise where she opened her mail. There was a 3-page, single-spaced letter from one of her faculty members that completely trashed her leadership ability. It was very painful for her. When she came to our coaching call, we had already been working together 3 or 4 months. So I felt comfortable being really honest with her, because when she told me about it, she was so upset. She was so defensive. She said, I haven't made these mistakes. These things aren't true. And I had to stop her and say, Britt, he's right. And that's when she got it. Yes, in his mind, he was right. All those things had happened, even though Britt had not intentionally tried to harm him or to mismanage the projects, or to, what he said actually was that she was marginalizing him as a member of a minority race. She was devastated. So what we had to do was help her take care of her own self-esteem, her own confidence before she went into the conversation. And the cost of not doing this for leaders is, if you're not able to take really strong feedback like this, we tend to stay stuck in our own narrative. I'm this, and nobody can tell me that I'm not. We also never learn or grow as leaders if we're not open to challenging feedback. And I'm not saying that Harlan was completely right. I'm just saying there had to be some kind of nugget of truthfulness in there, because it was based on his real experience. Clearly the way he was filtering it. But her job as the leader was, again, to take care of herself before she went into the conversation, so that she could be really curious and find out what was going on for him. The solution was for her to manage her own pain. We worked through some mindfulness tools for her to be able to do that. And then before she went into the conversation, so that when she went into the conversation, she could reflect back to him, here's what I heard you say in this letter, and I want to make sure that I'm hearing you now, because clearly you don't feel like I have been present for you, or that I have been a good boss for you. While she was doing that, it was very important for her to monitor his response and to be able to create a hypothesis. And in neuroscientific terms, this is called theory of mind. This is what differentiates us, one of the things, from animals. We can be around other people and we can theorize, gee, I wonder what's going on for that person. And then we can modulate our behavior based on what we think is a good way to interact with the person from that point forward. So this is what Britt and I talked about, how she could prepare to be able to use the insula, the part of her brain that is in charge of theory of mind, of compassion, of being able to be responsive to a person so that we're not so self-absorbed. This can also help a leader be more relaxed and help the other person relax and be more open to negotiation. And that's exactly what happened in this conversation with Harlan. He was even shocked that she wanted to talk with him. He came into the conversation and he was very tentative, he was nervous, and then point by point, as she went through the letter and said, look, I want to find out what I've done that's not worked for you, and I want us to come up with an agreement of how we can go forward from this point on. And as the conversation went on, she used that part of her brain to notice that he was starting to relax, and he was starting to smile, and that he was starting to be more flexible about realizing that he too was part of the problem, that he hadn't spoken up when he first got angry with her. So the main points of this story were they ended up being able to negotiate a new professional relationship and how they were going to go forward, and they both apologized and they forgave each other. It's kind of an unusual thing in the workplace, but it really is important for our own growth as leaders and also for the folks who report to us. The main points here are to notice and care for your own needs before a challenging conversation like this. You do that with the mindfulness tools. And number two, when you're in the conversation, to really be able to observe the other person's verbals, nonverbals, how they're responding to you, and to be able to reflect that back. Again, this is called theory of mind, that we're guessing what's going on for people and we're reflecting back. And that reflecting back helps them feel seen, helps them feel heard. That helps them relax, it helps them share more honest information, and it helps the conversation be more successful. So point number 5 is let go of being self-absorbed. Thank you.